just get started.
Review Board. Today's date is Monday, October 24th, 2022. Matt, would you like to read the roll call?
Slobodin?
Yes.
Rashid?
Present.
Stiniker? Here. Salzer?
Here.
Ha?
Here.
Tibbet, I don't see her online, so I'll keep an eye in case she joins later.
Okay.
And then Howell is excused, and Anderson excused.
Secretary's report. Consideration of the September 28th, 2022 meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections? Do we have a motion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Old business, case DR 2213, request for design review, CD Downtown Zoning District, construction of a new apartment building at 128 West 3rd Street, build to suit. Petitioner, Matt, would you like to start us off?
Sure. All right, so just to update everyone, this is the former Wells Fargo drive-through property, just a block from here, so on the corner of West 3rd and Main Street. So the board approved the demolition of the site, and the applicant has prepared plans to redevelop what will be called Main Street Apartments. So it'll be a 4-story structure, 54 feet in height, approximately 121 apartment units, with a small retail space at the southwest corner near the intersection. There's no on-site parking provided. However, the developer does have a parking structure just a block away. So last month, the developer came forward with a design. Based on the feedback from the commission, they have fine-tuned the elevations and are hoping to receive final approval at tonight's meeting. So building materials that are proposed is a cast concrete foundation wall with Cordova stone along the first floor, and then floors 2 through 4 will have a combination of vertical metal siding, Nichiha panel. There will be some balconies and Juliet railings. They'll have black Pella windows and then metal coping at the parapet wall. So last month, the board made several recommendations to the applicant to fine-tune the project. Just to summarize, was to keep the building consistent with the character of the downtown, especially at that intersection. To address the blank concrete foundation wall, to provide a little bit more articulation and feel at the sidewalk level. To add some type of projection or element to that west facade, to give it a little bit more variation in elevation, and then to incorporate high-quality building materials throughout the project. So on the screen before you is one of the proposed renderings, looking at the building at the southwest view. So you could see the west elevation. They have added a projection at the 3rd and 4th floor that projects out about 2 feet and then also extends above the height of the wall, approximately 2 feet to add a little bit of rough line variation. And they also have played around a little bit with some of the materials and textures on the building. So this is a view, again, the same view of the southwest corner. So the image on the left is what was shown last month, and then their revised rendering and design for tonight's meeting. So they have incorporated additional materials and textures. So some of the projections that are being shown, they've added color variation as well. So they've added white elements to kind of pop against the darker grays and medium tone grays on the building. So this would be the south view looking at West 3rd Street. This view has remained fairly similar, just with the addition of the projecting features are in polar white to contrast with some of that medium gray Nichiha product. One of the comments was to add some type of articulation to the foundation wall at sidewalk grade. Because those are first floor residential, the developer wanted those units slightly above sidewalk level just for privacy and security of those tenants. So the developer has added several courses of Cordova stone below the windows on that floor to give it a little bit more feel and kind of reduce the blank area of that concrete wall. So this is the previous design that was reviewed last month. And then this is the revised rendering for today's meeting. So you can see they've added a couple of courses of Cordova stone along those first floor windows. And then the concrete wall has scores to add a little bit more design element to it. They also have played with materials between windows on each floor and adding a darker Nichiha product to kind of create a little bit more of a vertical element in the building. This was the design that was shown last month along Main Street. So again, the comment was trying to dress up the blank, or not blank, but the flatter facade wall. So to address that, you can see the third and fourth floors. They've taken a projection that abuts out about 2 feet, just to kind of give that a little bit more depth to the building. And then it also articulates the roof line a little bit there as well. Another comment was, you know, since the design review board reviews everything that's visible from the public right of way, was to try to address the corner element where it is adjacent to the library along that north property line. It's along an alley on that corner. So the comment was to wrap some of those materials around that side of the facade. This was not shown at last meeting, but this is the north elevation. So this is adjacent to the library. So they're showing apartment units and windows with the Juliet railings. However, the comment here, in their plans, they show a vinyl siding product. So staff feel that vinyl siding or siding of that nature is not appropriate for the downtown. So the adjacent library is a 2-story building approximately. So those materials and elements will be visible from different portions of the downtown as you travel, especially those higher level floors. And then this would be the elevation against, so this would be the east elevation where it abuts the office is the building that's next door. So that's about a 1.5-story building. So you will see the higher levels of the structure, and that was also shown in a siding material. In terms of streetscaping, the image on the left is from our streetscaping improvement plan for the downtown. And then shown on the right is their proposed streetscaping for this project. The one notable difference is that our streetscaping plan identifies tree wells. They've submitted a plan with planters. So in terms of staff recommendation, staff is recommending approval subject to some conditions. So the first one being that the building materials on the south and west elevation be incorporated on the north and east elevations, so bringing some of that Nichiha product and metal siding to those other facades. The second one being that vinyl siding be prohibited where visible from the public right-of-way. So that's largely that north facade against the alley, as well as the east facade. So this building's in essentially a U-shape, so that courtyard could potentially have some of that material as long as it's not visible from the public. 3 would be that signage be submitted for review at a later date. So the signage shown on the renderings are just placeholders. So that will be handled at a later time. And then 4 being that the streetscaping contain the brick accent panels, poured concrete panels, street lights, and tree wells that are shown in accordance with the downtown Davenport streetscape improvement plan. So that would be handled at a staff level.
Do you have anything to add? Is there somebody from AOM?
Yeah, actually, on Friday, I actually went, because I talked to Matt on Thursday about this elevation issues. Is that concern just from the driving element? Or is that from walking down sidewalks or adjacent buildings being able to look out windows and see an elevation?
So it's a,
Just for clarification.
It's a combination of all the above as you're driving or walking throughout the downtown.
Because I actually drove down Main Street, was looking at from Sixth Street, Fifth Street, kind of getting what the view is from Sixth Street, Fifth Street. You really wouldn't even be able to tell what type of sidewalk it was, based on what I thought. And then once you get up to Fourth Street, you can somewhat see it unless if you're paying attention to traffic, you're not going to look at it. But then you do have seeing it from walking on the sidewalk. And then same goes with Third Street view that you're talking about. Driving, you really couldn't see it because until they changed the direction of the street basically. But walking on the sidewalk, the only way you really can see it would be from the opposite side of the street looking back at it, basically. So just wanted to get a little clarification on what's driving those views. So. Is there and then the question would be, is there a preference on what type of siding there one
Yeah.
what, the maximum dimension? Is there an opportunity to use a hardy product instead of, hardy lap siding material or something to that effect rather than niche? I'm just looking at for cost overall for the product. Because the two elevations that we have enhanced basically is added to our overall cost of the product. Just trying to find other ways that we can save and not have to go all the way to the cheaper product. The east side over the office, I think we could almost just use the same sort of metal panel product, even if it was a different color, and run it on that wall because it's a blank wall. There's no windows or anything in that elevation. Or when you get on the side facing the library, there's a lot of doors and windows stacked over there. So just looking at ways we can meet your requirements and your recommendations and not be too expensive, basically, since it's facing the that's all I got.
I have a question. I like the idea of that bump out area on the west side. Couple questions. One is I'm just curious about how that changes the interior, the apartments and so forth.
You would actually gain.
Can you please come to the microphone up?
You actually gain those, basically it covers 4 apartments. You're going to gain a couple more feet in each one of those 4 apartments that are affected.
Yeah, okay.
So it actually cantilevers beyond over the top of the sidewalk like the south elevation was.
Okay. And then I'm also curious, you had the bump out on 2 of the floors. And why not a 3rd floor?
That's a good question for the architect. Just to add some variety to it, the south side has a 1-story and a 3-story. I decided just to do a 2-story on the west. So it just adds a lot more variety and more interest in repeating the same thing over and over and over, which is what we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
The basic color scheme is set in these grays and
Yeah, overall, yeah.
overall.
Not sure that's how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the colors are not quite exactly what's on the rendering, because what the computer can generate is not totally perfect, but
Okay.
you can get the idea of the differences in shades, basically.
I think that fits well with the beautiful downtown library, which I think was, I can't recollect the architect's name on that, but he's a relatively famous architect.
And I think that, if I remember right, that building was built in '68 or somewhere in there, so.
Yeah.
The Nichia kind of gives you that same vibe, basically.
I agree. That's great. And you just finished the building across from the Freight House?
Yeah.
Is it?
They just finished that up. That does not have niche does the railings that you see on that building, the balcony railings, we're using the same manufacturer, same color as the balconies
Okay.
that are on that.
So that's a good example of what this is going to look like, because that's a beautiful building. It really is.
It's modern, but it's got, it fits.
Yeah, it does.
Is there
Right.
anything, oh, I'm sorry, are you,
No, go
okay.
ahead.
Is there anything on the rooftop? Are you doing any sort of outdoor space for,
There's no rooftop features on this particular project. There won't even be any sort of mechanical equipment up there. It's just
Oh.
gonna be the roof.
okay. How about there's no basement in it either?
There is not for, it's a U-shaped building. so
Okay.
there's a courtyard in the middle.
Middle, yeah.
And there's an outdoor space for all the people living there that,
Super,
they're on the first floor.
yeah, thank you.
And I don't know what Cordova is.
Cordova stone is basically just a brand name for a masonry. It's basically the size of the stone is basically the same as a regular concrete block, so
Oh,
8 by
okay.
16. The finish on it is like a buffed down finish, actually. I have a small sample of it. So instead of being like a beaded finish, it's actually been buffed down.
Okay.
You probably told us this before, but I missed last month's meeting. Are they one bedroom, two bedroom?
One bed.
They're all one bedroom?
Well, they're efficiency apartments or one bedroom.
Oh, okay, and are they gonna be, what's the price range gonna be for rent? You don't know?
That
Okay,
particular information.
okay.
I think to help answer your question on the north elevation,
London properties. I was just saying that London properties, that was just recently done as the same type of stone.
yeah, to help answer your question on the north elevation, you know, if you're not to use vinyl siding, what are your alternatives here? I like how you take the material from the west, wrap it around a bit.
Pull it around the corner.
Yeah, but I tend to agree that that's a bit too much vinyl siding there. So
Sure.
what is your alternative? I mean, I know you're asking us, but what?
Just looking for your ideas on that, since we're talking the possibility of, conditional scenario on that. I mean, one thing would be we go to a hardy lap siding product, but that, at one point, the original drawings, Matt brought it up that it would look too residential, it's too suburban in that case. It would, the nice thing with a hardy lap siding is durability wise, it's a lot tougher than vinyl siding. Vinyl siding also has a lot of issues with when you have large expanses, if you don't do it right, if you don't shim it, whatnot, for any irregularities in that. And then the wonderful sunlight, heat and cold, but likes to move it a lot, so it tends to want to buckle. So sometimes you see a large building that has vinyl siding on it, a lot of times it doesn't look really good because it
Sure.
buckles and looks horrible.
Yeah,
And like a hardy product would give us a lot more durability with that.
yeah, I think, you know, if you're looking at, you say the north side, the west side, and the south side, you can kind of ask the question, you know, which one of these is not like the other?
Yeah.
Like I know that the library blocks a lot of that view, but you know what you've submitted here on the west and the south side, I think looks great. So I mean, it's much improved from last month. So I
Instead of like having a lot of variation, if it was just one panel of it instead of having
Yeah,
variations like they have on the south or on the west would be acceptable.
Yeah, I don't think you need, you know, a pop out or anything on the north elevation, but that my feedback is, you know, what you've done here on the south and the west side looks great. So how can you, I guess without breaking the budget, what can you do to that to kind of carry that continuity around the building.
I would think that probably, the nice thing is if we were to do the metal panel like that far end of it, the opposite end from Main Street, we did that metal panel, it's pretty much a flat surface, there's no windows and stuff in it. So we could really probably incorporate the metal on that. Beyond, with the niche how we would have to trim out around every door opening, window opening, everything, like we would at the other elevations. I think the material's the same. The nice thing is it's one continuous wall, we probably line up joints with windows and so on, and color match any of the joints and stuff like that. Probably try to keep it as much of a similar, all one color basically in that area, and do it more of a block style like we have in the grays on the south and west elevations. It's a more, there's more labor intensive finish basically, and higher cost material. I think the east elevation, we could pretty much just incorporate the metal on, like we're above the office where was pointed out that we could incorporate that metal panel up there, because there's nothing, it just cover it up as a quick cover basically. And we flash over the parapet to the off, to that existing wall up there, we flash over the top of that.
So just from a staff, to help kind of help guide the conversation related to what they need to move forward. So is it might not necessarily be the product itself, but more that it doesn't look like lap siding? Is that kind of what we're looking for? So if they want to do like a cement board panel or something along those lines instead of Nichiha, which Nichiha is kind of a higher level to that.
It's a lot thicker product. One thing that we could look into would be to use a fiber cement panel like the lap siding material, but it would actually be in sheet form instead. We can cover larger expanses with that, but we'd probably do maybe more of a stucco finish or like a sand finish or something like that, where we still would have to trim out the windows and door areas and stuff like that, but it's going to be a harder finish and be direct over the top of the substrate instead of having to trim, do all the trim out and then put all the tracking and stuff on for the chemistry. That's what's actually one of the products, some of the products that they have down in the 400 where it's a 8-inch on center panel that they put on there just with that particular backside so you can more or less.
Would this be something we need to like table to see an example for next month, or?
Well, if you give us enough direction, it could be staff level, just review of the material. So if you don't want it to look like a lap siding, lap siding is a residential style siding. So if you want it to have a similar look and feel, but aren't as concerned about the overall material, we can make that administrative approval. If you feel like you need to see something else, you can table it. We were just trying to get them in the place that they could move forward if it was to a place that the board was comfortable with it. So ultimately up to the board's decision.
Does that sound good to everybody? Just, I think at the end of the day, that is the goal, to not have it look residential. Any questions with that, or?
I trust staff's judgment. I mean, it helped us get to this point here that we're looking
For
at
sure,
today.
yeah.
So
Do we need a motion for that then?
Well, so you can make a motion to approve staff recommendation. You could add conditions, remove conditions, table, deny, approve as is.
So if
But
you, if you want to get to the point where it doesn't need to come back to the board and are okay with the presented conditions we have on there, you can also add with staff approval of materials for the north and east elevation.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I would make that motion to approve with staff recommendations and approval of the north and east elevations.
Second.
Any comments, concerns? Do we have to roll call?
Yep.
Yep.
Rashid,
Yes.
Stiniker,
Yes.
Salzer,
Yes.
Hoff,
Yes.
and Slobodjan.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. With the staff recommendations. All right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
New business, case DR 2216, request for design review, CD Downtown Zoning District, installation of a wall sign at 418 East 2nd Street, Lang Sign Group petitioner on behalf of MFN Investments. Matt, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. Okay, so this is really becoming a growing area of our downtown. We've seen quite a few projects come through here. So this particular location, it's going to be a new restaurant called Dam Tacos. It's directly adjacent to the Dam View rooftop patio that was approved last month. And then Kitty Corner on Iowa and 2nd Street was the last Picture House, movie theater, and social lounge that was approved last month as well. Just that block to the west was Mississippi River Distilling Company, Raccoon Motel. And then on the other side of the bridge was the Town Place Suites Hotel that came through here earlier this year. So really a lot of activity is occurring in this part of our downtown, which is nice to see. So the portion of the building, it's outlined in yellow. It's part of the historic Davenport Motor Row district. Earlier this year, we approved enhancements to the overall facade. So they're redoing the storefront windows and entry. They're removing that garage door, and then they're installing a canopy over that level. So at the time, we just brought it to the forefront of the applicant that when you install that canopy, you kind of limit options for future signage. So the applicant is proposing to install a channel letter sign that will read the name of the restaurant, Dam Tacos, above the 2nd floor windows. It'll fit within the proportions of the facade. So the material, it's an aluminum channel letter in an orangish color. It's 36 square feet in area, which is about 2 feet in height and about 18 feet in width. It'll be illuminated internally with LED lights. And then on the left, you just see a nighttime photo in the appropriate font. So staff are recommending approval, just subject to the following condition. And that's in order to protect the masonry facade, the sign shall be installed into the mortar rather than the brick. So that's really just to preserve the historic brick in case for some reason in the future a new tenant comes in, you don't have holes drilled into the masonry.
Is there anyone here to speak on this project? Would you like to add anything? No. Okay. Well, are there any questions or comments from the board?
I am excited for some tacos.
Yeah. Is there anything in there now, or what? Is it just an empty building?
So it was vacant after the 2019 floods. So Actually, this side didn't, it was more storage on the first floor than anything, and the apartments weren't used above it. To the east was where Trash Can Annie was. That space is not really part of the scope of what Damn Tacos is.
Are you planning on doing anything else with the front of the building? I know when Streamline was here earlier in the year, they brought up a couple different like options. So is this just the sign and then later on we'll,
Yep, so this is
Okay.
just for the sign proposal. The rendering on the right is what was approved by the board,
okay,
which was those new storefront windows, the new entry feature where the garage door was, and that canopy.
okay.
So I think in general, it's scaled back, partly because it's in a floodplain and they have some flood regulations they have to follow. So they chose to scale it back a little bit for the time being, in order to be able to move forward with the project as a whole.
Any other questions or is there a motion?
I move to approve with staff approval, with staff recommendations.
I second. Good.
Any other questions or comments? Should we do a roll call?
Hoff?
Yes.
Salzer?
Yes.
Stiniker?
Yes.
Rashid?
Yes.
Slobodja?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thanks for coming in. Oh, you got one more? All right, well, in that case, case DR 2217, request for design review, a downtown zoning district installation of a wall sign at 207 Western Avenue, Streamline Architects petitioner on behalf of CND Property Management.
Okay, so this is another familiar project that came before us just a couple months ago in July. It's a vacant building highlighted in yellow, so it's located on Western Avenue just across from the former YMCA site, which has currently been demolished. So this is the existing building, currently vacant, so it's going to be remodeled to house various salons within it. So this is the approved storefront that went before the board in July. As part of that project, they were showing a hanging canopy sign that didn't meet our zoning code. So the applicant has come back with a new channel letter sign that'll read the suites. So just like Damn Tacos, it's an aluminum channel letter. The sign will be white. It's approximately 26.5 square feet. The height's about 1 foot 8 inches by almost 16 feet in width. It'll also be internally illuminated with LED lights, and then it does fit within the proportions of the facade in that area. So similar recommendation, recommending approval, just with the condition that in order to protect the masonry, sign shall be installed into the mortar rather than the bricks. That's really just kind of preserving the historic integrity of the building.
Would you like to add anything? Nope, all right. Any questions from the board? Is there a motion? With the conditions? Do we have a second?
A second.
Roll call?
Okay. Slobodja?
Yes.
Rashid?
Yes.
Stiniker?
Yes.
Salzer?
Yes.
Hoff?
All right, motion passes. All right, thanks for coming in. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you. General discussion, is there anyone that has anything they would like to discuss?
So Zach Howell has stepped down from his position, mostly just due to scheduling conflicts in his personal life. So we're now short 2 board members. So if there's anyone that you know that might be interested, please encourage them to apply. So that way we could be at a full commission. And so we need 5 people for a quorum. So we only have 7 people and 2 vacancies. So definitely appreciate everyone coming out.
Anything else? Any other discussions? Public comment? Probably not. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
The staff recommendation.
Staff, yeah, well, of course. All in favor, say yes. All opposed, say no. All right, motion carries. See everybody November 28th.
Which, by the way, is the Monday after Thanksgiving. So please let us know in advance if you don't think you'll be able to make it. We will offer up virtual for people who are traveling.
Sure, back. I was gonna give it to Tori, but she's been here for a few weeks, but yeah, so, yeah, next week, yeah.